Kim McCabe from Rights for Girls. Welcome to the show this afternoon. Lovely to have you on Perfect Health with Elastic FM.
Thank you.
Or even Perfect Health on Elastic FM with me, Elaine Godley. So Kim, your website, rightsforgirls.com, is it?
Yes.
I had a quick look at it this morning, and it's amazing, and something that I wish that we'd all had as youngsters. Tell us what it's about.
So Rights for Girls was established in 2011, and we offer small groups for girls who are in year 6 or year 7. So that's preteen girls aged 10, 11, 12 years old. And we meet monthly in our homes over the period of a year, just so that the girls get to feel what monthly feels like. And in that time, we cover all sorts of things to do with growing up. For a lot of them, they might not feel comfortable talking about those things, but they become really comfortable talking about it with us. They make friends for life, actually, because in Girls Journeying Together groups, nobody has to change anything about themselves to fit in. They belong already, and for many girls, they don't have that anywhere else in their lives at that time. So a lot of them find that not only do they really enjoy the sessions and what we cover, we guide them through puberty, they also find that the friendships that they make are friendships that really are lifelong friendships.
And that's nice, and it's presumably friendships outside of their normal school chums.
Yes, generally it is, although sometimes they'll come with a friend or two, but generally, yes, it's girls from all over, and that is something they particularly like, is that in a sense they get a chance to experiment with what it would be like if they were more themselves, if they were more however they felt on the day that they turned up, and doing that without friends alongside, friends who know them in a particular way or might go back to school and talk about them, makes it a lot easier for them to have a go at, it's absolutely fine in Girls Journeying Together to be the kind of person who participates by observing and listening and taking it all in. And generally those girls are made to feel just as welcome as the girls who are full of questions and lots of things to say. And we live in a society where we tend to favour the extrovert over the introvert, but the girls come to really recognise the power and the strengths and skills of the introvert. And so often what happens is the girls who are more outspoken experiment with what it would be like to sit back a little and listen a little bit more. And the girls who tend not to speak in the big group might try what that feels like. And it's much easier to do that if you're with people who don't know you from anywhere else.
Just to clarify, you mentioned monthly, and that's monthly meetings and the cycle. So this is about helping young girls to understand what it's, the monthly menstrual cycle is about, how to cope, how our mood swings, the hormonal changes, all that kind of thing, is it?
That's one of the things we do, and of course the girls don't really want to talk about that until we get to know each other a little bit better. But we talk about lots of things. There's always, around that age, particularly as they make the transition from junior school to secondary school, there's a lot of issues in their friendship groups, and how they can kind of belong and feel a part of what's going on without losing their sense of who they are, without compromising. It's often that there can be all kinds of conflicts between different friendship groups. There's a lot to navigate at that age, so we talk a lot about that. They start to become more self-conscious, and so we also talk a lot about how we look and what is beauty, and who decides what's beautiful, and what do they want to do as their bodies change to feel comfortable in their bodies. And of course we do cover, what's going to happen in puberty. How is your body going to change? And when you start bleeding, what do you need to know? What happens, and how do you catch the blood? And of course for many of them, what it starts out as being an uncomfortable topic becomes an incredibly comfortable one. And I find that most of the girls in my Girls Journeying Together groups, I'm one of the first people they tell when they start their period, mum and me, and then the other girls in their group. And it's something that they become not only very comfortable with, but also they look forward to it. And then when it comes, and maybe there are issues, maybe there are things, challenges that come with it, but they know what to do. And that's very empowering.
Excellent.
Cover a lot of things, and you know, and of course they want to know things like what to do about spots and greasy hair, and what do the numbers and letters on a bra mean, and also other practical things like what do you do if you're crushing on someone. And so although we'll talk about romance, it's at a age appropriate level. It's at what 10 and 11-year-old girls want to know about. But of course what we do is we lay a really firm foundation that means we can then continue to support them as they travel through their teen years. Because my mission when I set up Rights for Girls is just to support girls to their journey from childhood to young womanhood is just that bit kinder and safer and better supported. Because we have serious mental health issues with our girls now, and it's actually something that parents, teachers and adults in children's lives can really do something to change.
And it's a brilliant concept, absolutely fantastic. So how did you get into this in the first place, Kim?
Well, I suppose way back at Cambridge University, I studied child psychology and then trained as a counsellor for young people. And actually, I could see that what I was doing was helping when I was counselling them week after week. And they had all kinds of problems and self-harming behaviours, things that weren't healthy. And I could see that I was helping, but I could also see that it was taking a long time. And those coping mechanisms had already taken root. And I began to think about how I could work preventatively. So that grew over the years. And I think what then catalysed me into starting up Girls Journeying Together groups and launching Rights for Girls was the birth of my own daughter. And I just remember she was our third child, and I remember holding her in my arms and looking down at her and just feeling this enormous sense of protective responsibility, and just thought, I want her growing up through her teen years to be better than mine was, and also better than it seems to be for so many girls. And it can be, it really can be.
So your daughter, that makes your daughter 8 now, is it? Something like that?
She's now 13 and a half.
Oh gosh, right, my maths are rubbish.
No, your maths isn't. It took me a while to actually kind of formulate how to do this, because it's not a quick kind of something that can be done online or in a weekend. It's the relationships that we form, both the girls with their mentor, with their facilitator, and we have the mothers will also meet at the same time. So the mothers get support as they parent through the teen years, because we tend to get support in the toddler years when we first have our baby. There's lots of books and we're all kind of hanging out watching while our toddlers play and chatting to each other. Well, in the teen years, we tend to drop and run, and parents don't get the same support from each other. So that's something in a sense, mother and daughter are on a journey at the same time. And of course, it brings them closer too. The girls love to know that their mums are spending all that time thinking about them and what they need. And of course, it means that mothers are able to help each other through some of the tricky bits.
Yeah, it's a great idea, because once the children are teenagers, they have a life of their own and their own friends, and it's not cool to have mum hanging around, is it? But it does get better. My daughter's 37 now, and we do like to hang out together, so that's really nice. So you have a book coming out shortly as well, Kim?
Well, the book was published in England back in the summer of 2018. It's called From Daughter to Woman, Parenting Girls Safely Through Their Teens. But it's actually being published in America tomorrow. So from tomorrow, you can get it at from Amazon.com. You can already get it in Australia and England. And I'm also touring the country in England, giving talks to absolutely packed halls of parents, talking about parenting our girls safely through their teens. It's obviously something that people are thinking about and appreciate some guidance and some support.
Yes, that's brilliant. And is this something that the schools are helping you to promote? Are they happy for you to get involved, or is this something independently, totally independent from schools?
Well, it varies. I get a lot of requests from schools. I actually pretty booked up until the end of this year. So yes, sometimes a school invites me in, and what's lovely then is that not only do they generally invite their own parents, they'll often invite the parents of neighbouring schools and their feeder schools. So it can become a kind of community event and something that the school is able to provide. Otherwise, we also train women to be able to run these Girls Journeying Together groups, and sometimes those women will just organise independently for me to come and talk in their area. So yes, it very much depends on word of mouth, pretty much. I don't do much to promote it at all. Generally, when someone's read my book, I'll often get an email saying, please, could you come and speak? The talk is not just a book tour talk. I'm actually giving very practical tools, because I think the people who are going to make the difference are the parents and the teachers, and it's simple things that we can do, most of which I cover in the book, but which we can actually look more closely at in the talks.
Are you linked with the Girl Guide Society or any of those organisations? It sounds as though this could be a good badge for them to do.
Yes, not yet, no. Although both in America and in England, we definitely cover similar territory and have a lot in common, in the sense that we're just wanting to reach as many girls as possible, and for this to be something that is just that every girl grows up expecting to get this kind of support as she goes through her adolescence, and just knowing that guidance will be there for her, not just from her peers, but actually from people older than her, people who can offer her some wisdom and expertise. So yes, Girl Guides are doing a magnificent job, and we the same. We're wanting to reach as many girls as possible.
Fabulous. I asked people to select 2 song choices on the show, and you've chosen Leonard Cohen, Dance Me to the End of Love.
Yes.
Why did you choose that one? It's a lovely song.
It is. We had it played at our wedding. What I love about it is that sense of staying with something, staying alongside someone through whatever comes. It's something that I want girls to feel they have from us adults, from their parents and the other older women in their lives, that yes, teenage years are a tricky patch, but we'll stay by you. And similarly for me in my marriage, something we wanted to commit to each other was, we're marrying each other today as we are, but we're going to change. We are 2 people like we are now, but over the next 40, 50 years, we're going to become 2 very different people. And we want to commit to that we'll dance alongside each other till the end of time.
Oh, how lovely. The other song is Petula Clark, Downtown, completely different sort of song, but still, a very, very nice sentiment. So why did you choose that one?
That was the first record I ever bought. So it's got a special place in my heart, because I used to just, as children will, I just played it over and over and over again. It was my one and only record. I used to dance around the room with such abandon, and dance like no one was looking. And I just think that what it reminds me, whenever I hear that song, it takes me back to when I was that age, and it takes me back to that sense of freedom which children have, and which is something that I work really hard for our girls to hang on to that strength and that spirit through the teenage years, where it so easily gets lost, and then on into womanhood, where so many women I know are searching back for that. So that song for me just takes me right back to that. I love it.
Fabulous. Well, we'll play those both shortly. How do people get hold of you, Kim, if they'd like to book you to talk in their school or set up a group, perhaps be trained as one of your what do you call them, facilitators?
Yeah. So the best place to find us is on our website, which is www.rightsforgirls.com. Rights is spelled RITES. So rightsforgirls.com, and there are pages there for finding out where your nearest Girls Journeying Together group. You've got one starting in Nottingham, you've got ones in Sheffield, York, more and more all the time as we train more and more women. If you're interested in the training, then click on the training tab and you'll find out more about that. Although I think next year we're taking this to Australia.
Oh, how
And
exciting.
yes, and then my book you can buy it online or in all good bookshops. And the talk too, if you look under the guidance tab, you will see all the information you need to book me to come and talk in your area.
Brilliant. It doesn't sound as though you've got much time, Kim. All this high flying around that you're doing is fantastic, or from an idea that is so simple but so needed.
Thank you.
Well done. Excellent. Lovely to have you on the show this afternoon. Thank you for joining us.
It's been a real pleasure. Thank you very much.